Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Jan.
And this is Villages 365. And today we thought we would do more of your questions answered. We had a good response from people and they were like, I wish you would do more of these so we know what people are asking about on the video. So we're just going to toss out the questions and the responses we gave.
Part 2.
Yes, part 2.
So this is part 2.
December's version.
There you go.
So first question that we had was off of the video on the priority memberships. Do you need a priority membership to eat at the country clubs? You do not. Anybody can go to the country clubs and anybody can golf at the country clubs. You don't have to be a village resident to do that. You can just, to make a tee time, you just need to call the clubhouse and you can make a tee time for that day. But as far as eating, you can call, and some of them do accept reservations now. Some don't.
For a bigger crowd, I think it's wise to make reservations. They didn't used to, but they do now.
They do now, yeah. So the answer to that is anybody is welcome.
Right. The next question under priority is why pay for amenities when you have an amenity fee? So I think maybe they were confused that we were talking about how the championship courses cost, but that's not under the amenity fees. They're separate, and what you get for your amenity fees are all the executive courses, tennis, pickleball courts, parks, swimming pools. We're paying for the landscaping and the gardening, street lighting, private roads, and all the hiking and cart trails. That's what you're getting for your amenity fees. And your rec centers are free. You can reserve rooms. You can start your own club. And that's what you're paying for. The championship courses really don't have anything to do with the amenity fees.
Yeah, so I think what they were asking is why would I pay for a priority membership also? When I can get all this other stuff free.
Right.
So kind of all the things that Jan mentioned are included. But if you would like to play the championship courses regularly, that's when the priority membership comes in. As we discussed in that video, there are certain pools that are only available to people who have that. They now call it an enhanced membership since we did the video, but a priority or an enhanced membership. And then if you want to play at the tennis clubs, all the hard courts are free, but there are 2 tennis clubs here that are clay, and you don't have to be a member to play them, as the same as with the championship golf courses. But if you purchase this enhanced membership, then you get reduced rates. So that's what it does. And on the golf courses, it gives you a little priority with your tee times.
Right. Yeah. And your guests get a discount also when they come.
Exactly.
With the golf.
So that would be a reason that you might want to do it. But if you don't golf or play tennis, then you're probably never going to be an enhanced member.
And there's like 90 pools, so you really don't need the
7 that are specialty.
Right.
Yeah. So the next one came from what to know before you move to the villages. The question was, if I live near the villages but not in the villages, can I still shop and eat in the villages? And this was from Robin Moyers. And the answer to that is yes. Everything in the villages is open to the outside with the exception of the things that Jan just mentioned that are included in our amenity fee. So basically, everything that we pay for as residents is private just to residents. But any of the shopping, any of the restaurants, the music on the square is a big sore spot because so many people feel like that should be for villagers only. Well, we aren't the ones that are paying for that. That is being paid for by the rents, and it is also being paid for by a supplement from our county.
Yep. For the entertainment.
Yeah, it's like an entertainment fund they have.
Yeah.
So anyway, so everything is open to you except those amenities just aforementioned by Jan.
All right, and under the same video, Chad Hansen asked, what style of home did you move into after the large one? So I'm not quite sure of what he's asking there. We both moved from houses that were 2 stories with basement and came here, and the houses are smaller, there's no basement, and the attics are hot boxes. But I can tell you what style that we moved into. And it was called a Royal Palm, and then they changed it to the Veracruz. I don't think they even make that one anymore. They have new styles now, but ours is a 3-bedroom.
And you guys actually moved from
the historic side.
It was a smaller home. Actually, so you moved from a smaller home to a larger home with your move.
Right,
here in the villages.
And we never really lived there. It was a rental at the time. So it was a stretch double wide. It was very nice inside.
And we've never moved. We bought this house in 2001 and we rented it out for 15 years. And then after that, when my husband retired, we came down, rehabbed it. And so we've always been in our tiny little 1,250 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. But
they say the average villager moves 3 times. So
yes. So we'll see. Got a couple more in us maybe. Same video. Is bike riding easy to maneuver as compared to golf carts? So Jan is more of the bike rider. So I think this that should be your question.
Well, we do ride quite a bit, and we do both. We ride on the streets, and usually side streets. We try to stay off of the
like Buena Vista,
and Morris, because it kind of clogs up traffic. Although the bike clubs do ride there, and then we ride partially there and partially on the golf cart paths, which are technically called the pedestrian golf cart bike paths, unless there's one down south specifically for walkers.
Yeah, multimodal is kind of what they call them. And so that means everybody but a car vehicle.
Well, even on Morris, until you get to 466, it says golf, bike, pedestrian lanes, but it gets a little hectic there. In the summertime you can do it, but later you can't. But there are mishaps with people not watching for bicyclists, just like they don't watch for motorcyclists, and just be defensive.
So so I'm interpreting your question and wondering, so if you were going to come over to my house, would it be easier to bike ride here or would it be easier to take the golf cart?
Well, the golf cart, because I can bring my cooler. So if I just want to exercise and ride over here, it's fine. I mean, you can get over here just almost as fast as a cart, but not quite. But
but it's just as easy, right? I mean,
it's just as easy. So you go under the tunnels just like you do a cart, or you ride on the road, which I prefer not to do unless they're side streets.
So, but that question was from Marissa Fernandez, so thank you for that.
Oh, is it my turn? Even though I took over the last one.
Nope, I wanted you to.
Why are other communities allowed to be at the square? And why is that different than the other rec centers and amenities? And this is from Kay Lang. The squares are open. There's no gates to a lot of part of the villages that isn't residential. And again, we just talked about this. There's restaurants, there's shopping, there's the entertainment. The entertainment is the sore spot, but it's open to anybody. And when we first came down here, we didn't see a lot of the outsiders, or I shouldn't call them outsiders, people that live outside the villages. Yeah. Non-villagers, thank you. But you do see them more, and you see people bringing their kids up, especially like if scooters, the entertainment, kids love that. So, it's open to everyone. And if you want the controversy on this, you can watch Villages, or
look at Villages
News. .net, and it's still a controversy.
But the thing is that there's a lot of good bands, and you have to remember too. Now, if nobody ever came in from the outside of the villages, those restaurants might not survive. The shops might not survive. Right. So we can't have everything. We can't. It can't be exclusive. So, and I mean, I don't know. A lot of the villagers will come, and you guys do this at Spanish. They pull up and they'll get in their carts, and you just listen to music in your carts and stuff. So, and it's. I mean, I don't know. It gets crowded in the season, and it just is here. And I don't know how many of those people aren't from around here or not. I don't know.
I mean, Florida gets very busy, obviously, it's seasonal, and you get they'll be packed depending on the band. It'll be packed. Yeah. But it's kind of fun to people watch. I mean, they're the ones with the energy, and they want to dance, and Mark and I just sit in the cart and watch the people. So it's fun.
It is fun. So. The next question is Jan single? And is it hard to meet other singles? And this was from Anne. No, Jan's not single.
And I was going to wear my wedding ring today, and I forgot.
Sorry. Mark's going to have to get over here. So anyway, she's not single. But is it hard to meet other singles? So we've actually talked to a couple people that are single and kind of asked this question, because we've gotten this question from a couple people through our videos. And so I would say in general, the answer is no. It's not hard to meet other singles. I think the percentages were in that Big Book video. I think that it was like 64% of the villages or something like that is married. So that means like 36% is not. Right. And there are so many clubs. So, I mean, to me, I've always said this, even like my kids about dating people, find somebody that wants to do what you want to do, because that's going to be a more successful relationship. So here I would give somebody the same advice. Go look at the clubs that do the things that you like to do, and then you're probably going to meet other like-minded people, and that's how it starts. And there's always people that know somebody that's looking for a date for this or that, even if they're just friends. They'll go out as friends, and then maybe it turns into something different. So,
and there is a Villages Singles Club, and they have a website, and you can join. I think it's very, protected, so you don't get some
creepers.
Yeah, thank you.
Or married creepers, anyway. You might still get single creepers.
So, and there's a lot of churches in the villages, and a lot of them have singles clubs. I know that we do at our church. So, yeah, I think like she said, go play tennis. You might meet a single person playing tennis. Sign up for golf by yourself and get put with other people, and that's how you meet people, and it's really not hard.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Any country folk transplants opt for the 4-seat four-wheeler instead of the golf cart? From Grizzly Adams. There are, I don't know if there's very many four-wheelers on I've seen a couple. You have to be kind of careful how fast you can go, and if you can get under the tunnels.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, the tunnels.
I have seen some revved up, you can kind of tell the 50s, 60s, 70s guy that were car heads, or, motorheads.
Gearheads, yep.
And they really can make their cart look pretty cool. The bigger wheels, a little noise, deck them all out. So, yeah, we haven't seen too many of the four-wheelers on the paths, but you never know.
I think that's mostly. And also, to be fair, if you're not a golfer, this wouldn't matter to you, but you have to have certain tires on your cart in order to go on the golf course. So if you had a four-wheeler, that wouldn't be, so you'd have to have that plus a golf cart if you were a golfer.
Right, yeah, you can't have the knobby tires because that'll tear up the turf. I know when we bought our park cart, it had bigger tires, and we had to check to make sure they weren't too big to go on the course.
Yeah, so that's definitely. But yeah, thanks for the question on that. The next one was from the Hidden Gem video. The question was, do you worry about sinkholes? And this was from Deborah Lynn. And I would say overall, no, I do not. They do open up. It would be very jarring, scary, frightening if it happened in front of your home, for sure. But it doesn't happen as much as I feel like they make it seem like. So a lot of them open up on the golf courses. So I guess if you're afraid of that, maybe don't buy on a golf course if that's a concern. But
and this last hurricane that came through, a couple sinkholes opened up, but there was so much rain, and you think about it, we're on limestone, and they're known for springs and streams and everything
running
underneath it. And I kind of call Florida a big kitty litter box, because if you watch new construction, it's all sand, and if you know what you do when you pour water onto sand, it moves, it sinks. And I did, this is a little interesting. I did Google this about the sinkholes in the villages. And what came up was, giant sinkholes open up in Trump-loving Florida community. And it was from the UK. So I found that interesting, and I thought maybe some people would be offended because the villages is not all Trump-loving. And we try to keep politics out of these videos.
And I don't know what Trump-loving has to do with the sinkhole anyway.
I don't either. But I thought it was funny, so I had to put that in.
That is very interesting. Very interesting. All right.
Is this mine? Yep. What are some of the best ways for someone to come visit, let's say in March, and get a rental for about 10 days? And this is from Semi-Country Living. The Villages lifestyle, you can stay from 4 to 7 nights. I don't think in March you're going to be able to rent anywhere for 10 days.
But somebody had told me that through Airbnb, and this is another controversy in the villages, through Airbnb or through VRBO, that you may be able to find something. So, I mean, there is no restriction in the villages as to how long you can rent out your property, I don't believe. I've never seen that in the regulations. So,
Okay, well, that's something that didn't used to be, because it used to be people wanted to rent them for 1 month, 2 months, preferably 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
But right, if it's an Airbnb, and that is a controversy because the people that live next to it think it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
But especially for March, I would think that it would be hard to get in there, because if that's open, a lot of people are going to jump on it. And really, I would come down in the off season.
Yeah.
Because people, especially renters that aren't, VRBO and Airbnb, would be more likely to, because I think we rented to some guy for like 2 weeks in May because it was just sitting there. Yeah.
But I would say if you are interested in looking in March, first of all, the prime months are January through April here as far as rentals go. So you want to start early. So if you're thinking about, like, this is December, well, almost December of 2022. So if I was thinking about coming this March, I don't think you're going to find a place at this point. That said, there is some new construction. So maybe somebody that is a new homeowner that's thinking about renting, and that could be a quick in. If somebody said, well, I can't move down until April, but I'm closing in March, so shoot, I could rent it out and at least pay for that month's mortgage payment, whatever. So we're not saying it's not possible, but you could probably try something like that. But what I would do is just go through a couple of the property management companies. When we rented our property out back in the day, we just used to advertise in the paper. Sometimes people do fall through also.
Yes, we had neighbors that.
Yeah, well, these are older people. And so actually one of our tenants sadly had a stroke and they were unable to make it down. So they actually called us and were like, I guess you're going to keep our deposit, which we said if we could re-rent it, we wouldn't. It was February. That was not a problem. We re-rented it. They got their money back. But anyway, so you do have some people that cancel too. So I would just say reach out to the property managers. But if you know for sure you want to come down in the height of the season, I would say start the year before.
Right. And if you Google, rentals, a whole list of things come up for that. Yep. The Villages, Florida.
So our next one was from the video of Don't Move to the Villages If. So curious as to where in Illinois Debbie was from. This was from Jeff B. I grew up in Buffalo Grove. I actually moved around a lot as a kid. I was born in Harvey. You know where that is. And it was a long time ago. So anyway, and then I grew up in Buffalo Grove basically. But then my adult life, we lived in South Elgin. So that's where I'm from.
Big areas. Chicago's a fun city to visit.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Are there any apartment complexes in TV? From Connie Watson. And yes, there are the lofts at Brownwood that are already built. And they have 1 to 3 bedrooms. And the 1 bedroom comes in different configurations. And the rent is from $1,600 to $1,790. 2 bedroom with different styles. $2,000 to $2,500, and the 3 bedrooms are $3,230. And now, Katie Bell's, which is at Spanish Springs, is going to be turned into apartments, and also the upper level at Sumter that used to have businesses.
Did they get approval on that?
I think Sumter did. I don't know if Spanish did.
It's going to be interesting. That's another Villages controversy.
Yes, yeah, and they're so busy with all the other building, it might take a while. So we'll see. But there are apartments, and they're very nice. The lofts at Brownwood.
It's interesting that one of our viewers said that he went to the lofts of Brownwood, and they told him that there was I think he said 1.5 year or a 2 year wait to get in.
Could be because a lot of people that even had a house jumped on that because they sold their house and then they don't have any responsibility, and they have a gathering area there. A really nice pool, outdoor kitchen type area, and then you can walk to Brownwood.
Yeah, it's right at the square.
So yeah, it's perfect for that lifestyle.
All right, so same video with the homes the size they are. How do you handle sleeping arrangements for guests? This is from Elizabeth Rojek. Basically, we use air mattresses. We have friends. Sorry, there's landscaping going on, and this goes on all the time. So it's like you're living with us because this goes on all the time. So what we do is there's hotels locally. That's sometimes where we put people up. I know Jan had mentioned in that video that she has some neighbors that are very kind, and so they will stay with their neighbors so their family can stay at their house because there's more of their family. So everybody we make do with with what we've got. I mean, when my kids come, there's an air mattress in the living room, there's kids in the guest bedroom, and that's just the way we go with it. So,
and some people put the trundle beds in, so they're up most of the time, and then you have it down when you have company. So then you can still use that other room for crafts or
an office,
or a getaway. So the next one is, are there fitness centers included in the amenities that you pay for? And that's from Frank James. There are outdoor equipment that you can use for free. The indoor fitness centers have a fee, and we have gone over that in quite a few of the videos, and you could probably look that up online. I did not look that up. And that's only in some rec centers. And then there's two clubs that you can join. They used to be called MVP, and then the Genesis Health Club bought them out. And so you can join that. Now, if you're on Medicare and you have a supplement, some of the supplements will pay for your gym fee. So check into that. I know United Healthcare has it. I think maybe Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida now has it. So just check with your insurance to see if that's paid for. And if my husband's a gym rat. He's up there every day. So he gets his goodie out of it. I'm not so much a gym rat. I like to do my stuff outside. But there are options.
The next one, same video. Can I afford the villages? Amenity fees of about amenity fees of about $200 per month. Are we subsidizing those who golf even if we don't? What other expenses are there? This was also from Jeff B. Okay, so can I afford the villages? Obviously, that comes down to your own personal finances. The amenity fees are not quite $200 a month.
$177. I just looked it up.
For some, ours are still at $151.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
maybe it's a cap. That's the highest you'll pay is $177.
That could be the cap, and so that's another villages controversy. So they're talking about because the inflation rate has been so high this year, they're talking about that there shouldn't be a cap, and the cap I think expired, and so now everybody's stuff's going up. So anyway, I guess that it changes on the anniversary of your purchase, and actually we purchased in December, so maybe I'll get an increase next month. That will be my surprise. Are you subsidizing those who golf even if you don't golf? Kind of. You're paying for the executive courses to be maintained, so yes, you are. And what other expenses are there? Just your normal expenses. We've kind of gone through that, and there is actually a video, which instead of going through it all here, I would just recommend that you look at the video about how much does it cost to live in the villages. Right. We did a whole video on all the breakdown and stuff like that. But basically, your amenity fees, if you're not a golfer, though, you're still getting the rec centers, the pools, this and that. I mean, I'm not
trails, tennis courts, pickleball, volleyball, sand tennis.
Yeah, so there's probably something that you do that I won't do. And so I'm supplementing your stuff while you're supplementing mine kind of thing. So
it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah. So, but I still feel like for what we get, and like Jan mentioned too, that has a lot to do with the maintenance of the flowers, the landscape. I mean, as you can hear, there's constantly landscapers around, and they keep this place so pristine. If there's garbage, it won't be there in an hour. I mean, it's beautiful here. So the amenity fees, in my mind, for what it is, I mean, I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yep.
So,
the next question from Sonia Downey is, how much does it cost to rent approximately? And it's about $2,200 to $3,200 during the peak season. I think you can get a better deal, like I said, off season, and it's starting. People are starting to come like in May or June because it is so much cheaper. But then they can do all the fun stuff,
and it's not as crowded.
Yeah. So. Or October even, when it starts to get cold up there, it's 80 degrees down here. And so it's a good time to rent. And usually the renters haven't really come yet, or, so it varies. And it varies if you rent from across the street or if you rent brand new down south too.
And it varies who you rent through. If you rent through the villages, because they take I think it's 20%. All of them have property management fees, obviously, but the rents may be more expensive if you rent through the villages than a different property manager, or if you go online and rent directly from the owner.
Yeah.
or if they include a golf cart, or if there's a pool, or if there's a hot tub. So depending on what you're getting, you got to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. That's all.
Yes, and I know the insurance companies don't really care for the
cart
cart coming with it. So
yeah. Are they considering putting in buses? This is Delilah Canova. No, not that we've heard of, and I don't anticipate there will ever be buses.
Streets, I don't think can really take them.
Well, and everybody pretty much does drive a golf cart. So you do not have to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart. So I would say that probably that would be the fallback as well. You can get everywhere on the golf cart. So
yeah, right. Well, there's the workman transportation that will take you to and from the airports, and then there's some private bus companies that come in and take people on a day trip or a weekend trip. So that's about all the buses we see. What about pets? I have 2 French bulldogs, Thomas Carroll Jr. You are fine. You should watch our deeds and restrictions video, because they had different restrictions in the historic side, which way back then, when it was 1 dog under 20 pounds. And really, I've seen people with 3 dogs. Nobody's really enforcing it unless your neighbor complains. But the 2 dogs, probably everywhere, is fine.
I would think, yeah.
Especially the French bulldogs.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're cute.
We'd love to see pictures. Would the Villages be a good place for a bachelor? From Jorge Luna. Again, I would say refer to above. Overall, yes. I know a couple guys that are bachelors, and some of them are looking for someone permanent, and some of them are just happy to be out and, hey, you want to go out to dinner, and and that's it. Keep it casual. Some people here from other countries like Canada and stuff like that. I don't know if anybody would be hooking up unless you're from Canada. That's a tough long distance relationship. But at this point, we're all kind of set in our ways. So maybe if you're single and set in your ways, that's the perfect relationship. Somebody that leaves for half the year. So anyway, all up to you. But yes, it is a good place to be a bachelor.
The next question.
I want to do this one. Is
because
it true
because didn't we address this one?
I don't know, but we addressed all these questions. But this next one is it true about the pink flamingos, from Billy Versace? And I want to defer that one to Jan, because that is Jan's favorite thing. Everything Jan has pink flamingos on it. So Jan, what does it mean though with the pink flamingos?
It means you live in Florida and you like flamingos.
I really hadn't heard that whatever rumor, but it's hilarious because I guess that's another swinger implication. And they're on, is it Tierra del Sol, the golf course Tierra del Sol? This house in their backyard has a 5-foot pink flamingo on it. They must be big time swingers. I just think it's funny. So
that one I hadn't heard. I do know that you can do a bong out of your plastic pink flamingo. I don't know. So if you know anything, Billy, that we don't know, let us know.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
This one is, my grandkids can't visit me for a holiday, from Rocky Brown, and of course they can. Up to, I think you have to get a visitor's pass through districtgov.org when you have visitors, so they can go in the pools and show that they're with someone from the Villages, and they can be here up to 30 days. So they can come at Christmas, they can come a couple of weeks in the summer, and I personally don't know if they call you up and say, you're at 29 days. I have not heard anything along that line.
Yeah. The whole idea is that they can't live here. Nobody they can if they're over 18. If they're under 18, they cannot live here. Well, 18 and under, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So financially, is the 30-year bond a deterrent? And this is from Michael Krecky. It just gets adjusted in with the rest of the cost. That's the whole thing. Some of the bonds up north are paid for entirely, so it's not even an issue. The bonds down south, of course, since that's new construction, they're a little bit larger and they're newer, so people haven't paid as much off. The whole thing is, it gets basically rolled in with your tax bill. So to most people, it feels invisible. I mean, you're paying it, but it does feel invisible. So is it a deterrent? Tax. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a deterrent because they're like maybe $2,000 a year. So if the $2,000 a year is going to set you over, then I guess it is. But
and I know the used houses, pre-owned, a lot of their advertisement is no bond. So
Yes.
that is important to some people, or no popcorn, ceiling. I mean, it's just, like she said, it's up to you. I mean, it's on your tax bill, and you just pay it.
Yeah. So it does feel invisible to most people. But anyway, so that is December's questions.
Part 2.
Part 2. And we're going to try and do this. If we have enough questions, we're going to try and release one once a month, because it seemed that this was very popular and a lot of people were interested in hearing what you all have to say and what your questions are. And like we talked about in the first version of this, like my husband watches YouTube on TV, he doesn't see all the questions, so he has no idea of what all the chatter is below. So this will give you an idea of some of what the chatter is if you're not looking at it on a computer screen.
Right. Yeah, because once you watch it and ask your question, you might come back and see what 365 answered, and then you're done with that. So,
Yep. So
there we go.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.